Welcome to Pursuit of a Perfect System, an album recommendation for you. Tenere is the artist with the album Be My Guest, and it was a recommendation that popped up on Qobuz, and on Qobuz it's available at 96 kilohertz 24-bit, for the high resolution music glory. And it's a bit of electronic music with a French twist. I think, given the name, I think it was a very good album. It was sounding really fantastic on the system that I'm reviewing at the moment, featuring the NOVAFiDELITY X50Pro, which is a music server that I think pretty much offers nearly everything and ticks pretty much nearly every box without costing crazy money. Let's get into it. The NOVAFiDELITY X50Pro, some of you may recognize as being a Cocktail Audio X50Pro. And the NOVAFiDELITY version or the Cocktail Audio version is not a copy or a rip-off of the other. They are both the same company, just with different brand names in different parts of the world. And the X50Pro is the flagship or the highest specification and highest performance music server from NOVAFiDELITY/Cocktail Audio, and it is a very fully featured music server. Take a deep breath. It's a music server, a media player, a CD ripper, and a music recorder that can have up to 16 terabytes of internal storage from two different either SSD or mechanical hard drives, and you can set them up in 3 different variants of RAID. It has playback and support for Roon, Qobuz, Tidal, Spotify Connect, AirPlay, Napster, Amazon Music, MQA, for those of you, DSD, DXD. It has multiple digital outputs. It has multiple digital inputs. You can even record vinyl or maybe tape or cassettes onto its internal storage. It has internet and FM and DAB radio. There are 3 different methods of control. It comes in a very nice, aluminium based chassis that you can buy in 3 different colors, with one of those colors being gold. It has a dedicated application that runs on both Android and iOS. Loads of options, functions and flexibility, and even a lot of attentions to detail paid for better and maximum sound quality. And you even get a 7-inch color display. All of that for £4,099. So yes, it's a serious amount of money for a hi-fi music server, but it's far from crazy money when we wrap all of that up into one package. So that was an exhaustive list of what you do get with the X50Pro. What about what you don't get? Well, you don't get any analog output. So there is no inbuilt or internal DAC with the X50Pro, and there is no inbuilt headphone amplifier or headphone section. The X50Pro is a pure digital dedicated music source, quite a mouthful, and obviously you can catalog and store all your own music on it or go and grab music from your favorite streaming services. But to grab that music, you will need to connect an Ethernet cable to the X50Pro because it doesn't have built-in wireless. And overall, I've been very impressed with the NOVAFiDELITY X50Pro because it's a very solid, reliable, consistent product that just works. On the front, I mentioned we have a 7-inch color screen, which is very useful when you get up close and you maybe want to make some settings changes, but it's not really that useful when you sit further away. And one of the main methods of control is via a remote control. You might think, why a remote control? Why a 7-inch screen? Because you're not going to be able to see that when you sit at a reasonable distance away, and you definitely can't. And it doesn't make any sense until you realize that the X50Pro has a HDMI video output, which you can link to your TV, and then all of the metadata, all of the information that comes on the screen also comes on your TV. And that is when having a remote control makes a hell of a lot of sense because you can then use the X50 Pro in a more traditional fashion. Picking up the remote control and pressing next, or pressing play or pause or stop is so much quicker and easier than getting your phone, opening it up, unlocking it, going into the app, finding the right section, the page. For basic commands and functions, that very modern thing actually is quite cumbersome compared to picking up a remote control and pressing a single button. There's definitely still life in the old remote control dog yet. The menu system for the X50 Pro is very comprehensive and in a way quite complex. Now there are a lot of menu options that you'll probably never ever adjust, but there are some very important ones that I just want to bring up or bring to your attention. It's very important that you go into the menu system and select to put your favorite streaming service or the streaming service you're going to use in the highest quality. And there's an option in there which I thought could be of interest to some audiophiles. There is the option to upsample your music all the way up to 192 kilohertz. On the rear of the X50 Pro, the USB output for feeding to your DAC is on the right hand side. And again, an important menu option, select to connect the USB output to your DAC. And I was really impressed to see that the X50 Pro detected the Chord Electronics Hugo M scaler. It's such a simple thing, but I found that really, really impressive. So on the left, we have multiple already alternative digital outputs: SPDIF, optical, AES, I2S, and even a word clock output. And the X50 Pro can be controlled via UPnP. So if you're used to that way of controlling your music, then you can stick with that. But I would strongly advise anybody who buys into a NOVAFiDELITY or a Cocktail Audio music server to give the brand new MusicX Neo app a good try. The app may look a little bit rudimentary, but in practice and in use, it's absolutely brilliant. It's fast, it's responsive, and it will allow you to control absolutely everything within the NOVAFiDELITY or Cocktail Audio music server. So in the X50 Pro, yes, you can control all your music library and your playback options or your music streaming options, but you can also access and change and control all of the different settings and menu options. The MusicX Neo app is a very comprehensive app with lots of functionality, and I worked with SCV Distribution to produce a video dedicated to explaining about the new MusicX Neo app, and I'll link it up there for you. Matt from SCV has given a really great explanation about how the app works and how good it is, and I would strongly suggest you all go and check that video out to find out more about this app because it really is very good. I started the review by using the X50 Pro's USB output, and I was very impressed by how clean the sound was, how precise the sound was, organized, nice and good timing, a very, I suppose that's probably a good word a way to describe it, a very precise and on-point sound across the whole soundstage. I was really impressed by how present the treble was and how attacking the treble was, and the overall sound, I would say, was quite upfront and a little bit on the forward side. I do think some audiophiles might find this presentation to be a little bit analytical depending on the system. So at this point, I changed the digital output and came off of the SPDIF coaxial digital output. And very interestingly, the sound presentation changed. The sound was slightly softer, slightly more relaxed and easygoing. The treble was a bit softer and a bit more delicate and a bit more easygoing too, and the overall sound was warmer and a bit more cuddly. Interesting word, but a little bit more cuddly in its overall nature, but that did come at the expense of some of what I really liked about the USB output. So that precise and really on point, timed, precise sound. I think, depending on what hi-fi system you have and what kind of sound presentation you like, there's two quite different flavors of sound here coming off of the X50 Pro. Now, I do need to point out that some of these flavors could well be the DAC that I'm using could have, galvanic isolation on the USB input and not on the SPDIF input. I suppose the greedy audiophile that I am, and really this channel is about Pursuit of Perfect System, I wanted to see if I could get the best of both worlds. So at this point, I introduced the Chord company, or really English Electric 8 switch, which is a dedicated audiophile network switch. So I added the 8 switch to the system and carried on listening to the X50 Pro from the SPDIF output. And I'd say, yeah, it improved the sound a little bit, but I didn't find the difference to be, huge and drastic and massive. However, coming off of the USB output of the X50 Pro, then the 8 switch seemed to make quite a considerable difference. It helped to, open the soundstage up in terms of width and depth. I think it helped to, relax the treble off some and give a bit more substantialness to the bass. And I actually really liked the sound of the X50 Pro from the USB output with the 8 switch in the system. That just kind of gave me what I was looking for in terms of most of the best of everything. I think the sound from the X50 Pro from the USB output is still on the more forward side, and again, might be too precise for some audiophiles, but you know what? I really liked it, and once you've listened to a sound like that for a while, take it away, you do definitely miss it. I need to clarify here, I'm not saying that you have to use an English Electric 8 switch with the X50 Pro. Far from it. I'm just bringing it up as maybe a recommendation for something to try. Well, at this point, I have to, I suppose, make an apology, really, that I didn't have another similarly priced music server here to do a direct comparison with. I have just been listening to the Antipodes K50 music server, which priced at £15,000 is designed to be, an industry-wide flagship music server. Yes, the Antipodes K50 does sound better in a lot of key areas, smoother, more relaxed, more rounded, more organic. The NOVAFiDELITY stacked up pretty well. For my final thoughts of the NOVAFiDELITY X50 Pro, it kind of merges some older technologies and some older ways of doing things, such as remote controls and displays up on the screen, combined with a very modern, a very up-to-date application that works extremely fast and extremely well. And the great thing about this is that all audio files are covered. And then sound quality wise, you know what? I think it sounds very good as a music server. I think it's got, a little bit of a forward type of presentation, but beyond that, I think it's pretty damn neutral sounding, which means it's going to, find its way and fit its way into a lot of different audiophiles systems. And again, you can get slightly different flavors off of it depending on what digital output you use, which again helps with some of that tailoring, just finding that right balance for you and your system. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you found it useful and helpful. If these types of video reviews are of interest to you, make sure you subscribe to the Pursuit of Perfect System YouTube channel, and obviously smash the thumbs up button at the same time. I want to thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.